Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 107th episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as well as the 47th episode of Season 2 titled Best Man for the Job. We begin this episode in Angel Grove High, where we find out that the student elections are coming up. Billy asks Tommy if he'd ever run for class president, and he wants to be Tommy's campaign manager. Kim agrees that Tommy would make a great president. She and Aisha leave, and Billy suggests that Tommy's campaign slogan should be the best man for the job, because we can't even be 3 minutes into this episode without it just name dropping its own title. Skull asks Bulk what he'd think if he were student president, but then Bulk says that he should be it because then they'd have access to the student files. It's not okay. Aisha tells Kimberly that the best man for the job could be a woman, and after Aisha convinces her that Tommy will be fine with it, she talks to Tommy and they agree that it's gonna be fine. On the moon, Zed makes an astute observation about how politics can ruin any relationship. Then, he and Rita argue, and we find out that Zed is sexist as hell, saying that Rita sucks because she's a girl. Then she gives an evil jump rope to Babu and Squat, saying that they will make people overly competitive. This show is so damn cheap, it's insane. Kim and Tommy are walking through the park, talking about how great it is that they can be both friends with benefits and also run for office. Then Babu and Squat trip them with the evil jump rope, which causes Tommy and Kimberly to start bickering with one another. It's kinda great. Goldar tells Zed about how Rita has a plan, and Zed says keep an eye on it. Then we find Tommy defacing a campaign poster of Kim's, whose slogan is "Win with Kim," which doesn't even technically rhyme. He's also drawing a mustache on her. Billy shows up with posters for Tommy, and Tommy puts his poster over Kim's. Kim then shows up calling them losers, and man, I love this episode. They start arguing again before a 35-year-old extra walks by and they attempt to get his vote. Tommy and Billy end up leaving, and Kim puts stickers over Tommy's poster so it now says, "Don't vote for dummy." And it's the funniest thing this show has ever done. Aisha tells her to chill, and Kim just tells her to shut up. Also, we see Bulk and Skull campaigning, and Bulk promises if elected, he'll reveal the identity of the Power Rangers. Then, on the moon, Rita zaps down a letter to Tommy's locker, and he and Billy come in, and Tommy literally only removes the "don't" from the defaced poster, as in he's fine with being called a dummy. They find the letter, and Tommy reads it, leaving. Billy reads it too, and it says how it has information to destroy Kimberly. Tommy's in the park, and he gets jumped by Goldar and Putties, and he morphs in the coolest way ever. White Ranger then takes them all on, kicking ass in the process until Goldar hits him away. Aisha and the guys come up to Kim, trying to talk to her about how she's kind of being a bitch in this campaign, but then Zordon calls, and the five morph right there in the middle of the hallway. They come to Tommy's aid, but then Rocky gets hit way back. Also, now Kim is just talking about how Tommy needs help because he's useless. They start fighting with one another while Putties are around them. Goldar is even trying to get them to pay attention to him, and he ends up getting punched by Kim and stealing Saba. Tommy breaks free from Putties, and Kim and Tommy compete over who can get Saba, and they hit each other, falling onto the ground. The others try to break them up, and Goldar uses Saba to fire at them. They have to retreat. In the command center, the six are there while Kim and Tommy keep bickering, and Kim says that Tommy's ponytail is too tight, which is kind of amazing. Alpha does a test and they find out that they're under a spell thanks to Rita. Zed then gives them roses to smell, which will somehow make them better because it's a symbol of love. Tommy refuses at first, saying that he's not trying to be a jerk here, and Kim says, "You have a hard time doing that, huh?" And the best line delivery Amy Jo Johnson has given thus far. I love this episode. They smell the roses, returning the two to their normal, boring selves. They apologize to one another, and now Rita is in the park dancing around with Saba, which is kind of hilarious. Billy suggests a freaking magnet to get Saba back. Tommy is going to stay behind for no reason whatsoever, and the five others teleport in. Rita then calls out the White Tiger Zord, converting it into warrior mode. The others then call their Thunder Zords, combining them into the Thunder Megazord. Alpha gives Tommy the finished magnet device thing, and he says that there's only a range of 10 yards, so Tommy has to go solo. When he arrives, we see American Zord footage. The White Tiger Zord and the Thunder Megazord are actually connecting. This episode is incredible. Tommy sneaks up behind the villains, and now the two Megazords are using their swords against one another. I'm not even mad that they called the Thunder Saber the Power Sword, man. Tommy flips out of the bushes, recalling Saba. Now back in control, the two Megazords start to stalk towards Rita and gang, and they disappear. Then, on the moon, Rita laments her loss, and Zed rubs it in her face by flexing on her. This episode! At the youth center, Kim has just finished her speech. Tommy is up next, and he says that they should all just vote for Kimberly because she's actually better than him. That's unexpected. I was expecting a tie between the two. Then Skull comes in dressed to the nines for Bulk, and Bulk comes in a bad Uncle Sam cosplay while Skull is ruining everything in the background. Then Skull hits both Kaplan and Bulk off stage. Kaplan receives the election results, and Tommy and Kim hug it out. Kaplan goes to the podium announcing that Kimberly Hart has won the election. Bulk demands a recount, but he only got one vote. Turns out Skull didn't vote for Bulk because Kimberly's speech was that good. Then Tommy gives Kim a fake-ass rose. The end. Where has this season 2 been this entire time? This episode was incredible. Kim and Tommy being at each other's throats should seem like low-hanging fruit, but since they're also so friendly, it's so refreshing to see conflict between the two. Plus, American Zord footage? That's so badass! Rita getting Saba and controlling the White Tiger Zord against the Thunder Megazord, and actually funny Bulk and Skull bits. I love this episode. Will next time be just as good? Be real, it's not gonna be. But until then, may the power protect you.